Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to NEWSROOM. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 28th of February 2024, and we will discuss Pakistan's economy, its economic challenges that lie in front, the investor confidence that is being shown, whether it be in the form of the PSX that is showing a bullish trend, or whether it be the dollar bonds as well that seem to be on the increase as per latest Bloomberg report is concerned. What are the investment opportunities in Pakistan and what are the other prospects is something that we will discuss during the first segment. To discuss this very important topic, we've been joined in the studio by Dr. Noor Fatima. Dr. Noor Fatima is a leading economist. Thank you very much, Dr. Saiba, to have joined us. Dr. Saiba, the IMF shows increased, in fact, the international investment community has shown a lot of increase in the Pakistani dollar bonds. This has been, highlighted in one of the reports that has been published by Bloomberg. They say that there is a significant uptick following the country's general elections. The development, of course, they say, is a positive shift in investor sentiment, largely driven by diminished political uncertainty. In your point of view, ma'am, what needs to be done to further strengthen and solidify this interest?
I think I will take lead from that. It is the political stability first, and it will generate the economic stability. Whether it is Bloomberg or Fitch or maybe IMF, they are all looking forward to Pakistan's stability, Pakistan's political stability, because you need a face, a narrative of Pakistan's team which will talk to IMF. Remember that in April, the previous IMF agreement is going to it will end now in April. We need to go to IMF again in new, of course, conditions, new targets. They will be looking forward, and Pakistan needs $6 billion more to and standby program will it is going to finish now.
There's a last tranche that needs to be, of course, given by the IMF.
Yes, so there is much need to be expected, but they are expecting too. Investment is one of them.
Okay.
And after SIFC, I think this is the this is what we could expect from these indicators internationally, that we are getting up towards the facilitation of the huge projects, huge investment in Pakistan, and that is what shows even in terms of dollar bond, or in terms of credibility, in terms of confidence of international investors in Pakistan. So ultimately, it will all come to the conclusion when you go to the IMF.
All right.
That is the real thing which you have to show your ledgers.
So basically, our relationship with the IMF, whether it be in the present or in the near future, is what will be the highlight of the upcoming government and the main challenge that it will be facing as to how it goes with it.
2.1 GDP for this financial year, but we need to gear up for 3.5% GDP next financial year. That's just around the corner. So we need to actually now translate all these kind of action which we have done in the last IMF program, and of course for the future. And for the future, we will qualify on the basis of what we have done in the last program, which is continued now, standby arrangement of $3 billion.
All right. Now, the Bank of America, as per the Bloomberg report, underscores a growing confidence in Pakistan's economic outlook. This enhancement, as far as the rating is concerned, also reflects the expectations of a stronger financial standing for Pakistan in the near future. Apart from the relationship with IMF, what are the other indicators behind this elevation?
I think SIFC, I think is the
you
most,
feel
it is the, and second, now the shape of the government is coming up, as we have been just seeing the coming up the Prime Minister, and fortunately all these kind of reports have also indicated something very important, very critical about this political party which is going to take tomorrow charge of the Pakistan, that for the last 30 years, if you look at the trend of the economic development, was fortunately in this particular political party. So that is also a kind of a signal which is being sent abroad also with people are just.
Recently, during a press conference held some days back, Julie Kozak, who is the head of the communications department at the IMF, said that during the tenure of the interim government, the authorities had maintained economic stability, quote unquote. This has been done through strict adherence to fiscal targets while also protecting the social safety net by maintaining a tight monetary policy stance to control inflation and continue to build up foreign exchange reserves. She also said, and I quote, "We look forward to working with the new government on policies to ensure macroeconomic prosperity and stability for all of Pakistan's citizens." How important is macroeconomic stability and prosperity, ma'am?
Very much. Actually, what they are indicating is that you need to have a kind of you need to follow those policies which they have. Particularly the interim government has done. Interim government has done much more beyond their own. Particularly a very historical exercise of the power has not been maintained, and they have been doing above board. So of course, I think I agree with it that the interim government has been able to control a bit the inflation as well as the leakages of and the rupee and dollars parity. They have been able to.
Or we just heard Nawaz Sharif Saab and Shehbaz Sharif Saab talk about the challenges that lie ahead and also the need to have a consensus and working together. How important is political stability and a consensus on all major issues like economy for any relationship with a lender like the IMF to be stabilized and to be long term? And do you feel a charter of economy is also a need of the day?
Exactly, very much need of the day. See, we have been talking about charter many times, but now is the time to actually translate it into the action. Now investors and international agencies, international community and our economic diplomacy like they have been now propagating it, and now we need it to basically propagate in a very positive way from our through lobbying of from our diplomatic channels also. It is very much important to show a kind of a consensus on at least economy by all kind of political parties to the world.
All right. I think that is very important, and I hope that all political parties come on the negotiating table as far as important issues that concern Pakistan, like economy, is concerned. The benchmark KSE index gained over 600 points during trading today as well. There was an increase of around 658 points or 1.04%. A lot of experts said this is because of the stability they are seeing post-elections and of course the positive sentiment coming from the IMF as well. What measures in your point of view also need to be taken from now onwards to continue with this positive market sentiment?
To avoid speculations.
Okay.
Very, very important thing. Whether you are in the government, you are in the opposition, you are a political leader, or you are in any opinion making position, please do not speculate about economy. That is a very dangerous thing in creating the trend, because stock market itself has, for me it is not a real indicator, but it's an indicator when you speculate, because it shows you overnight difference in the numbers, so do not speculate.
Be as real as possible, with realistic opportunities and outcomes. Now, as far as KSE 100 is concerned, and the year 2023, the index grew 51% to over 1.5 trillion or a year-on-year basis. Of course, the banks and exploration and production companies had a huge hand as far as this index is concerned, which is much higher than the 9.4% of the KSE 100 companies in 2022. What do you attribute this to? Why this increase in 2023 compared to 2022?
Mainly because of this government, this interim government, they have taken the, what investor looks for. They are looking forward to the security, stability and security of their, of course, the liquidity. If that is secure, you have a secure policy, you have a stability in your policy, and that is very much obvious, it is shown. That is all what is required by the investor, and then when you will see the trend in upward in the market.
As far as commercial banks are concerned, there was an impressive 83% earnings growth during 2023. And of course, all the banks have recorded historic profits during the year, according to a research report that came yesterday. What are the criteria to increase earnings by other sectors in your point of view?
I will go back to again the credibility and the confidence. That is the most important thing. Transaction, we need to reduce the transaction cost.
How can we reduce the transaction cost?
Stability, and also when you bring them to the one window operation. You use the technology, you give them the property rights, you give them the assurance of their liquidity and their return of their profit or return of their money or whatever, or their, of course, the material. So that is the key that we should have.
All right. Also, Moodys, has maintained Pakistan's rating
Yeah.
on CAA 3 as well. Moodys says if Pakistan takes some steps, its rating could improve. But it will have to walk with the IMF, as you have said in the very beginning, before the current program and also with the future program as well.
$6 billion we need.
What important decisions, in your point of view, apart from the IMF, also lie for the new governments, whether it be the federal government or the provincial governments? Because, of course, the provincial governments have autonomy after the 18th Amendment.
I think the most
yes,
challenges.
What are the challenges? What are the decisions that they need to take, basically, or challenges in other words?
I think first of all they need to look at to curb the inflation which is not real. The economic governance is the most important thing. We have inflation, but hyperinflation as well as the that inflation which is actually not the real inflation, that has to be curbed.
Okay.
And that we need economic governance. See, monitoring is very important element for any government to control the inflation. First, if it is controlled, then it will give us signals. You will see the different. We are grappling with certain other things. For instance, unemployment. There are so many things to do. For instance, if I would say there is a need of an emergency in education sector immediately. Digitization has to be worked. There's so much now, the world is changed now after this digitization, and we can use the digitization and digitalization for our SIFC. So there are so many things to do, but first, I think to start with is inflation.
All right. So we need to start with inflation and then go on with the rest.
Yeah.
As far as the reforms that have been undertaken by this current caretaker setup or those that were taken by the coalition government before that, there is a trend whenever a new government comes that they put aside those reforms and move along with their own set of reforms. How important is the continuity of reforms?
Very much important. That's what I've said. Whether it is a CPAC or any other investment in our country, the point is only the instability or discontinuation of the policies. That is the most danger than our IMF condition, even I would say. They are not more dangerous as compared to our instability or discontinuation of the policies. That's where we lose everything. Not only that policy, not only that sector, whether it is a power sector, look at the power sector, what has happened now. We owe like $1 trillion of rupees to the to circular debt, only because we do not stay on the one policy, So continuation of the policy, economic governance, and there is always a modification. You can have an incremental changes if you want to make that policy work more effectively, but to altogether to done away with that policy is no sense.
We need to continue with the policy, and I hope that this government continues with that, and I think it will. Our caretaker Prime Minister Noor says the caretaker government took various steps to increase foreign direct investments. One of the examples is the $200 million US contract joint venture that they began on the pink salt development with a US firm as well. How important is FDI for a country like Pakistan? What can Pakistan do to increase foreign direct investment in its country in the coming months and in the coming years?
I think their major concern for the last 20 years was security. That is done. SIFC is the face of Pakistan, which shows that all kind of institution in Pakistan, whether that is a military side or civil side, they are together on that, and it means that is a given security to the international investor, to the FDI also. The most important thing is the transaction cost, as I said. Most important thing is the security, as I said. Is if these two are a combination with the digitization, with the SIFC, I think they will be very much interested to invest in Pakistan.
Dr. Noor, Fatima, the caretaker government also decided on privatization of certain assets like Pakistan International Airlines, distribution companies, Pakistan steel mills. Do you feel this is important as well, a step in the right direction? Could also these steps help bolster foreign exchange reserves in your point of view?
Yes, but in my view, we have to be careful also, because with the huge privatization in the past, we didn't have a very good stories to except telecommunication. So we need to actually to do it with a very rational and with a very, it must be a very, very thoughtful process. Privatization is not a bad idea itself. It's a good philosophy, but how to do it in Pakistan in given the Pakistan economic and social condition and the people, the working, the labor force working in those organizations, we need to, because we need to have to create a human face adjustment before we go for the privatization.
All right, structural reforms, Ma'am Noor, Fatima, how important are those to strengthen our economy? A commitment to transparency, rules-based policy making, institution building to enhance trust in the system. How do these elements also increase the prospects of structural reforms?
Very much. This is, I think, 23rd time that we will go to IMF. Every time I just grew with that we need structural reforms. Where is those reform? Unfortunately, we cannot indicate that. Point is, when you keep on taxing the taxed already, so don't we need the reforms? We need the tax reforms. Agriculture is how much tax? We need the reforms. Governance, always very high talk about governance reform. Do we have really governance? Look at the governance structure of now internationally. They are working maximum output with a minimum, not people, minimum government current expenditure. Do we do that? How many people we need? Even new public management, now we have this bureaucracy. We can use them for more efficiency, but the point is that are we really amicable? Are we really committed for the reforms? What is a reform? Do we know that?
I think that is very important to aid. For that, we'll need to have a very strong economic team, I think, in the upcoming government, and to ascertain the different aspects of these different kinds of reforms that Pakistan needs to undergo, so that we can have a healthy and strong relationship with lenders such as the IMF, and also, come out of this circular debt and all the other issues that Pakistan is,
That's why
facing.
I said that we need to learn what is efficiency.
Okay.
Out of this time, energy, money, we need an efficient production. What is a productivity which we do not.
So we look forward to the current government and its economic team as far as that is concerned. Thank you very much, Dr. Noor, Fatima, to have joined us, leading economist, talking to us, ladies and gentlemen, about the different challenges that lie ahead as far as Pakistan and Pakistan's economy is concerned, and what needs to be done now. There are different questions, but of course, we know that the National Assembly session is going to happen tomorrow, in which all the members will take oath, and a new process for the formation of a new government will begin thereafter. The fact also is that we need a very strong economic team to take Pakistan out of the current economic issues that Pakistan is facing, and also strengthen Pakistan economically. That is the most important thing in this current day and age. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. See you inshallah tomorrow with new stories segments that pertain to us here in Pakistan. Allah Hafiz.